Hello everybody. This will be one of the first videos of a series I'm going to be doing of things that a Civil War soldier in the American Civil War would be carrying. Not all of this would have fit every single soldier in the war, but a lot of this is a kind of a mixed match of different items that a soldier might have wore on his person at a time, in his pockets, in his haversack, in his knapsack. So yeah, let's jump right into it. First, we got this knapsack, or this haversack right here. Now this is a canvas haversack, and it's been painted here, so it protects stuff inside, and it's been stamped, and it has a bread bag type thing in here to separate some of the items that you put in here. Now mostly you put in here would be your food. A lot of this personal items, this stuff would all be in your knapsack, in one of your pouches in your knapsack. So this is primarily used for food. Salt pork, coffee, sugar, oats, that kind of stuff would all primarily be in this bag. Now, how would we store some of that? Well, we got a few ways. Put that right there. We got these here. These are called poke sacks. Now, these are civilian-made poke sacks on a machine, on a period-correct machine with period-correct cloth. I have a few more, but I just pulled these ones out to show you. These could hold anything from sugar, oats, coffee, rice, cornmeal, that kind of stuff. Anything could fit in these. You could even put nuts, berries, whatever you had, you can put in these. This one's a little bit more special. This one, I usually put my my fork and knife in here on certain occasions. Sometimes I keep my fork and knife separate so I can easily get to it if I've got to eat fast. But if I'm, at a living history or something, I put it in this. Just keeps them, a little less, out of the elements, since they're pretty old utensils that I have. So that's one way you can store your food in your haversack. Another way is this. So it's kind of like a haversack, but it's smaller. This is a U.S. Sanitary Commission poke sack. So on the inside, if I can open it up here, it's cloth. On the outside, it's this painted canvas cloth, and it helps protects whatever you put in here. And for the event I went to in July, we cooked a whole bunch of salt pork, and so I put the cooked salt pork in here, and it kind of has a nice smell to it. But I put my salt pork in here, and then when I was hungry, I reached in there and I got a few pieces out and ate them. So I kept them, out of the elements. It kept them away from everything else in my haversack, all my other food. So it kept the meat more contained, which is always good. You can put raw meat in here, and you seal it up, and it'll keep it a little bit more, protective from your other foods. So I kind of want to get another one of these, but for right now, I usually carry one of those, 2 regular poke sacks, and then that one. So I'm going to move this up here a little bit. Now we're going to get on to a few other things here. So we're going to start out with our eating utensils. So here I have this tin cup, which has been through years of campfire, as you can tell. Years. Has rivets on the top there. And I usually use this to drink. If I want to drink out of this, coffee primarily, but sometimes you could use this to boil up some beans, put something in it if you want to. You can boil salt pork in there, put some water, put your salt pork in there, boil that up. All-purpose tool, a must-have if you're going to be doing any type of Civil War reenacting. But make sure you get a good tin one. Tin ones are the best. I just washed this out because it was a little iffy from my last event, but this is actually a canteen half, and I'm going to be showing all my other gear later, but I just wanted to show you this stuff. But this is actually from a canteen. It's a canteen half. Now, it's kind of, you can see it there, almost kind of like a bowl, almost kind of like a plate, so you can, multiple uses. You can put your food in there, you can put other things in there, but I like this more than a skillet just because it's more handy. I can put it on my canteen half if I really wanted to. Most of the time, if I got to move fast, I want to take it off and eat it real, put food in it and fry some bacon or salt pork. But I keep this in my haversack as well. All the food items, kind of keep them together. But nifty tool to have. Now, some guys they carry those multi fork and spoon. I could I do need a spoon. That's one thing, like a period spoon. But I like having two separate ones here. It's a preference. Um, you can get other, they had the other ones too. All the way back to the Roman Empire, they had the multi-tool fork and spoon combination. But I got this knife here and this fork here. Notice the 3 prongs instead of 4, like the modern ones today. Pretty nice. These are the ones I've used for 5-8 years now. Right, to move on here. Something of comfort that I would probably keep in my pocket, especially nowadays, and cold weather. It's a sleeping cap. Put this on your head while you sleep, and you'll sleep 100 times better, trust me. It's helped me many a cold nights. Just putting this on just keeps that heat in underneath the blanket. Put this on, pull the blanket over, just keeps it a little bit warm. So thought I'd share that, but I would usually keep that in my pocket. That's gonna be close on me here. Right, we've gone through all of that. Right, let's start on this side over here for some of the more personal things. This here is a housewife that I've hand sewn. I don't know how accurate this is, but this is an old piece of canvas that I had from a canvas tent that fell apart. So I made this, let me get it out here real quick. I made this sewn my own housewife here. Has needles in up here, has extra piece of cloth here with some needles in it, some scissors, buttons, has these little, I made these little leather strips here that have Pure Correct sewing equipment on them, some cloth patches for my pants and my jacket. But I don't know how period it is. I've never seen any pictures of it, which it'd be kind of cool if I did. But I just thought it would, if they had a piece of canvas spare and they had sewing skills, I'm sure they would have done something like this, or with another piece of cloth or cotton that they had. I know a lot of them were made back in the back at home and sent to the troops, but I figured this would have been a nice addition to my kit. Before we continue, I am going to pause the video real quick and reset the timer so I don't run out of time here, and I will get back to you. All right, and we're back. All right, let's move on to something that I've been starting to get into, not terribly, but it's something that's pretty cool in my opinion, is smoking in the Civil War. Now, I do not condone smoking at all. It is very bad for you. It can cause cancer and a whole bunch of other ailments, but I do keep a little bit of this stuff here to show off my impression of what smoking was like in the Civil War, because it's a little bit different than how you think now. So no, these are not cigarettes. This is actually smoking tobacco. Yep, this is a Pure Correct packaging of smoking tobacco from New York. So that's a cool addition if you want to incorporate it here. And this is a tin here to hold matches. Well, Surefire matches right there. Pretty cool, neat packaging there. So you can keep your match box in there like that. Or another way soldiers would have carried matches. This little wooden container here would have been ideal for matches as well. So now, if soldiers bought a pack of this smoking tobacco, they probably wouldn't keep it in this paper, this paper container here. They would probably, because it's wet, they would probably take it out, And they would use something like this called a tobacco pouch. Oh, pardon me there. Sorry, my cat was attacking me. So this is, again, kind of like the haversack over there and the poke sack. It's canvas and cloth, and it's been painted on the outside to protect whatever you put inside of it. So you can put your tobacco in there. You would keep it dry, out of the elements, and you wouldn't, ruin your hard-earned Yankee money, on tobacco. You would, get to keep some of that tobacco dry and smoke it at a later time. Now you could smoke it in a couple different ways, in a couple different pipes. I got two here, just for demonstration. This is a wooden and gutta percha rubber pipe here. A little bit more sophisticated, maybe a NCO or an officer would have had something, nice like this, or a nice German pipe. Those like long ones that come down all the way around here. Those are very common in the Civil War. Another one here is this small little clay pipe. If you look up, I've used it once. If you look up Civil War photos of clay pipes, you'll always find about that part right there. This part will be usually gone, but you'll find this part right here. So these are very common in the Civil War, these clay pipes right there. Moving on here. A few more personal items. Now all this stuff, I wouldn't carry all of this. I'm just showing you a variety of different things. So I maybe carry one pipe, tobacco, and maybe one of the tins, and a few of the other things. I wouldn't have this many candles. I would probably only actually have one, or even like a half of one. I'd probably cut this in half and share half of it with my pard that also has my other half of my dog tent, so we could both have a candle. So I'm just showing you different couple options there. You got this candle as well, a beeswax candle. And I'll show you these awesome packaging here. If it can, there we go. These packaging of candles here. Pretty amazing. Okay. Now, a lot of soldiers had diaries back then. So I picked this diary up. And for the event I was going to, it was 1863. And it was kind of mid-summer, late summer, 1863. So I figured an 1863 diary would be a good companion for me. I don't know any Civil War cursive. I'm still learning that. I got a book on how to do Civil War writing. But I thought this was a cool pickup, just to have a diary and write down my daily thoughts about what we were doing, what we were eating, what we were encountering, that kind of thing, as soldiers would have done all those years ago. Moving on to some of the stuff that would go in my knapsack. So this would probably be my knapsack, and maybe even pockets for the tobacco stuff. Who knows? Maybe the pencil will probably be in my pocket. Some of this stuff would be in my pocket as well. But a lot of this would be in my knapsack with my blanket and my gum blanket, which I'll be showing you later. But one of the first things a soldier would have is socks. Now these are sanitary commission socks, but these would be maybe one a pair, maybe two pair, three pair. But they're pretty worn, as you can see. I've been using them for a little bit there, but all good there. So those are socks, and they would be on my feet or in my knapsack. So this is a little cloth here. If I can zoom in there. It's been hand sewn across all the edges there, and it's just a really nice cloth to use for cleaning up your clean up your pots and your pans and that kind of thing, or even your gun. You could use this to wipe down your gun if you put some oil on it. They didn't really have oil back then, but I use oil on my gun just to keep it, make sure it stays well at home. But in the field, you don't have that luxury of having oil to keep your gun nice and clean. But you could use this to wipe it down, wipe all the dew and the rust off from the morning, that kind of thing. Now, I don't want to use, if I'm using this to clean my plates and my utensils and my gun, I don't want to put this on my face or on my body because it has stuff all over it. So for that, I got this right here. This is a U.S. Sanitary Commission cloth towel or rag. I don't know how common these were. As I said, not all this stuff was common Western or Eastern. Oh, let's focus there. But, you know, they could have used this at any stage in the war. Actually, not any stage, probably closer to 1863 or 4, because the Sanitary Commission was commissioned in 62. But this is a towel for cleaning up with. If you find a river, boom, you got a towel you could use this to wash off with. You know, just make yourself a little bit more clean whenever you get to a river. You get to wash up with that. Another thing for hygiene here, lice was an issue in the Civil War. So having this gutta percha hard rubber comb right there to keep the lice out of your hair in this period packaging. I keep it in the period packaging just because I like the period packaging, but I'm sure they would take this out and get rid of that. But another thing for the hygiene, definitely must. And some guys even had toothbrushes and tooth powder. I do not have any of that, unfortunately, but that's just another thing that the guys would also carry. A couple things here. One thing I don't carry on my hardcore events, but I carry this for living histories, local stuff. This Infantry Tactics right here by Casey. It's just a good book to refresh yourself on some of the tactics of the Civil War, how they maneuvered, how they used their weapons, that kind of thing. Just good to have, especially for the public. You can flip this open. If you're talking about something, you can show them in this book. And it just helps them, get a little bit deeper into the history. This is something recently I picked up. This is a button board. So if on your jackets you don't want to get the ash from the fire on your buttons because that's how you polish them, you slide your button in there, slide it all the way down, and then you use this to polish each one of your buttons. So, pretty nifty tool there. Most of the stuff would also, again, be in my knapsack. I might keep this cloth out, might keep the comb out in my pocket, just so I could use that really fast. This here is a sergeant's tool or a gun tool. Now, a lot of them had smaller ones about that big, and they were like little wrenches. But I carry this one just because I was a sergeant for a while, so I had to carry one of these. It is missing one of the things down here, and I just got a new nipple cleaner for the gun up there at Gettysburg. So I carry this mostly for our living histories, and then I have a few cleaning stuff in here, patches and stuff. A lot of this I wouldn't really carry on a hardcore event, but for living history stuff, smaller events, yeah, I'll take this. So these right here, these are rounds right here, ammo, in these 10 arsenal packs here. I make my own rounds historically. I make them correctly to the specifications, and I put them in these things here. This is how they were sent to the troops and issued, so that's where I keep them. I keep them in these brown paper arsenal packs here with labels and twine. But yes, and these would all, I would keep some of these in my cartridge box, and then I would keep some in my knapsack as well. But there you go, folks. These are just some of the personal items. Some of the other, cool little aspects of reenacting. These would be all in the haversack or my knapsack or in my pockets. Remember, food in the haversack, personal items in the pockets or in your knapsack. I hope you enjoyed this kind of long video talking about all the Civil War items here. I've been making more videos about the Civil War accoutrements and gear, the weapon I have, So yeah, stay tuned, and I hope you enjoyed.